Hello everyone, this is Ghost EDC again, and we are back with Martin, who is a subscriber to the channel, who sent in the Microtech Ultratech Tri-Grip OTF, his Microtech Ultratech, and we are back to do the review on this after carrying this and using it for a week straight, and then went on vacation for a week, and then came back, used it a little bit since then, but carried it for a solid week. And first of all, I think it's just interesting to be able to, and I'm thankful for it, and hopefully I get some more people, subscribers, to send in their knives. But it's interesting getting somebody's knife, and I mean, to me, just every knife has its own story, and this one is no different. You can see the wear on this knife where the Cerakote has come off of the hardware of the pocket clip. You can tell where Martin has used this knife every day since he bought it in 2022. So this knife has been used for, a good 4 years or 3 years, because the date on this is 11/20/22, so we'll say a good 3 years. And Martin has never I got to talk to him a little bit about this knife, and he has never done anything to this knife, and has never failed him. He's never had to sharpen it. He's never done any kind of maintenance to it, and it's just always worked. And I think that is a true way of how Microtech does their knives and what a premium knife will do for you. And this knife, you can see in my previous video, it was still sharp enough to cut paper, sharp enough to still open packages. And yeah, its edge had been a little dulled, but for using this for 3 years straight and never having to sharpen it on who knows what, and you can tell that Martin has definitely used this knife. I mean, the tip where it's got this coating on it is worn off from how many times he's used this. So it's not like this knife has never been used. It has definitely been used. I wouldn't say abused, but just regular use of the knife, and it's still sharp enough to do tasks and still work great. But I did go ahead and I cleaned this knife out per Microtech's recommendations, which is just cleaning it out with brake cleaner, getting all the gunk out, anything that was inside the knife. The knife worked perfectly fine, but I just went ahead and cleaned it up for Martin anyways. So cleaned that up, blew it out with air, let it dry, and then sprayed in ram oil, which is a gun cleaner lubricant actually, and then blew out the excess from that, and it is functioned just as good as it did before then. But hopefully now Martin has no problems with it for the next however long he uses it. What I thought was kind of interesting, cool, you could tell where Martin has used the knife. From the Tonto part was really dull, so this part here you could tell he's used it a lot to open whatever. And then this front side of the blade before it gets to the Tonto part was also pretty dull. So in sharpening this, I had to end up sharpening this 2 different times. I first sharpened this and just sharpened all of it equally, and still this point here and this point were still pretty dull. So I wasn't satisfied with that, and I ended up going back and resharpening the whole thing and focusing in on these points till I got them resharpened to sharp, and then had to go back in and even it out. But you could tell it is definitely sharper now than what it was. I guess you can't really probably tell that, but you can see the shiny new bevel there that sharpening has created. So I think he will be pretty satisfied with that. Have some paper here. This doesn't really prove anything, but people like to use this as a way to tell how sharp your knives are. And you can see that this knife, it just, I mean, it cuts excellent now, fires excellent. Just a great knife. Always wanted an OTF, and thanks to Martin, I got to try one out. Not only did I get to try an OTF out, but I got to try a Microtech out, which is one of the best knives, best OTFs that you can buy. Microtech is known for their OTFs. Again, so known for their OTFs that they've been in multiple movies, from John Wick to The Dark Knight Rises. The Joker has an Ultratech. John Wick has an Ultratech. So that's how popular these knives are, especially with the OTFs. So again, this knife is made out of 390 stainless, so that's why it's lasted so long as a premium steel, a pretty hard stainless steel. So I've really liked this knife. Never had an OTF, never had a Tonto type blade. The Tonto type blade I found works really good for cutting open boxes, doing those tasks, that everyday tasks that you would use a blade for. The Tonto, I mean, looks cool, especially it has that beveling here, which just looks nice, and it works great for different cutting tasks. I never used this knife hard. I did carry it in my pocket for a week, did carry it in the office. I used it for different things, carried it to work. I do work in an industrial environment, and it did just fine there as well. Some things that I don't like about the knife, and this is just, I think, a Microtech thing, is from what I've seen, is really the only thing I didn't like about the knife is the button itself. The button is really pokey. It has some really good grip on that button, and it is really a little tough to open. You really have to put in some effort to open this knife. It's not like impossible, but if you do it enough times, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which I've done quite a bit, and to me an OTF kind of should be that fidget factor of being able to open, close, and you do that enough times with this knife and your thumb is going to be a little sore. I get why they made the button hard to open. Microtech has some other knives where they have like a button fire or a safety with a button fire, and I think probably those are a little easier to open, but I'm sure they made it like that so it wouldn't fire in your pocket, so somebody couldn't accidentally fire it. And that's a great thought there, because there is no safety on this knife, so that kind of is their safety. So I understand the point there of why they probably did that. But I mean, really, that is my only complaint about the knife, and really that's not even a complaint, that's just how they designed the knife. But it's just something personal for me that I didn't like about the knife. The knife is really cool. The tri-grip portion, which is this texturing portion that makes it a special series for EKnives. Really cool, really grippy, fits in the hand nice, holds nice, it's not going to slip out of your hand. It's got the glass breaker on there, which could be nice for different situations. I carry my knives in my left pocket, even though that I am right-handed, and it worked great carrying it in my left-hand pocket just like any other knife. It carries a lot like my Olight, which we had talked about in the previous video. I mean, it's basically just like carrying this Olight, except this knife is lighter than the Olight, but similar size. The Olight is a little wider than this knife, but about the same thickness. Olight is maybe just a hair thicker than this. So a little more compact than the Olight, but basically like carrying an Olight. So I think I will. This has convinced me to be getting an OTF eventually, hopefully soon. Maybe a Microtech like this, or similar, or I've also been looking into gravity knives, and then the single action. This is a double action OTF, which means you push the button to open it and you pull the button to close it. Single action would be you push the button to open it, and then there's a lever on the back which you pull to engage that knife or get that knife back into the casing. And then a gravity knife just uses gravity to get the blade out, and then gravity to get the blade back in. It doesn't have an auto out in like this knife does. But I mean, great knife, great action. It's got a nice pop to it. Just an overall great knife, and I really enjoyed carrying in this knife. And I hope that this just adds to this knife's story. And I hope Martin continues to carry this knife and create memories with this knife and just add to the story of this knife. It served him well. It served myself well for the time that I've had the knife. And so far, it has been one of my favorite knives that I have carried. So, great knife. And yeah, and that is the Microtech Ultratech Tri-Grip OTF from EKnives, special edition that EKnives did for, or that Ultratech or Microtech Ultratech did for EKnives. So that is a review. If you would like to get your knife reviewed, just put a comment down below and we can get together and figure that out. And that's it. Thank you guys. See you next time.